NWA consists of Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, MC Ren, and DJ Yella, and they are the world's most dangerous group back then and now. They gave the people a voice. They spoke for the people who didn't have the means to speak up. They talked about the things that others were scared to talk about and shed light on things that people needed to know. Like around 5, that's when I really started to put together that my dad's a little he's a little different than everybody else. He gets a little bit more attention than everybody else. And then I'm gonna say when I was about 13, right in my teenage years, early, that's when I started to look into NWA and see what led to my life that I live. And then when I was about 18 is when I really started to see my dad's hand in other people's lives and why people act the way that they do. And even now at 23, I still can't tell how big he is. It really started to become an obsession to get this part. Like I couldn't go to the movies and see somebody else playing this part. It would have nauseated me. It would have drove me crazy. And so it was very important because I feel that no one can play this part like I can. I've been studying for this for over 20 years, man. So like I'm super method with this. I would go on tour with my dad. I had been my first tour with him was actually the first time I met Dr. Dre. I was in 3rd grade. Shouldn't have been on the tour, but you got to experience those times. I was on the Up and Smoke tour and I met Dre. But I've been going on tour. I've been watching my dad rock my whole life, and then ever since I was 18. My brother and I actually go on the road with him and perform with him. And we've been on tours. I've done stuff in Australia. So being on the stage is actually my comfort zone, and it's really where I can really get down. Gary, looked at the role as his responsibility as well, and he's helped me. Like he's been there to talk with me. I had a huge scene with my man Paul Giamatti, and before I went in there, me and Gary were, yeah, we conversed. He helped me with techniques. We just made he's the perfect guy to make sure that this movie is where it needs to be. He wants it to be 100% authentic because he knows just as important as my dad knows, this movie has to be right. And, he's a perfect guy for it. We were 5 minds with one goal. We all had the same idea of what was wrong in the world, and we felt like no one cared. No one gave a damn. So if you're gonna just brush it to the side, we all knew that we wanted to bring it to your face. And that common goal, that brotherhood, it only got torn apart by greed. With a movie like Straight Outta Compton, it's so important to the city of Los Angeles that if you shot it in Atlanta, if you shot it in Boston, it would almost be disrespectful. It would at a certain point, the people who really care about the movie and who are really affected by NWA it wouldn't be right. So it's very important to really be in those neighborhoods to really really feel the thickness. And by thickness, I mean the times where we can't tell who's background and who's neighborhood people. The real sense of you gotta watch your back a little bit. You have to really have your mind there. You have to really see where people grew up. The grunginess. If you don't have that, if you just feel any type of way about it, it's gonna show on camera. So the authenticity has to be beyond what we're doing as far as these words, and so it had to be in the real neighborhoods in Compton, on Slauson, on, you know, Crenshaw, all those. They're gonna see that the artists, the rappers that they, you know, might not like are real people. You know, they're real people, and for the people who don't like NWA or were against what they were saying, those are people who hear the songs but they're not listening to the songs. And I hope through this movie you can finally see the message that was trying to be put across.